I will have them introduce themselves very briefly, state their roles, and then we'll get the conversation started.
Okay, I'm Bertil Brown. I'm the director of the Energy Unit.
Yes, good morning all. I'm Dinasia Frank, the Energy Officer in the Energy Unit.
Blessed morning all. Malcolm Herbert, Clerk of Works, Water Services Department.
So thank you for joining me again. Now this is a very interesting edition of The Waterline. As you would notice, those of you who are regular viewers and listeners to this show, you'd see that we have with us the Energy Unit today, and that is because this month is CARICOM Energy Month, and The Waterline was so gracious to allow the Energy Unit to come and discuss, of course, the collaboration between the department and, of course, the significance between energy and water, those linkages that we hope to establish today. So I will begin by directing this first question to Dr. Brown. Dr. Brown, what can you tell us about the role that energy plays in the water system? And of course, this question is open, so feel free to jump in, Mr. Herbert.
Okay, I will start with the fact that the Water Services Department is one of the largest consumers of electricity in St. Kitts. And the fact that it's one of the largest, you would assume that the cost of electricity is significant in their operation and maintenance. How they use electricity is mainly through pumps to pump up the water from the underground wells and then to pump that water to their reservoirs. You will also appreciate the fact that the water infrastructure covers the entire island, and so to maintain it and operate it, they need transportation. So you would see the water department has a lot of vehicles, which the transportation, they need energy. So that's how they connect, and that's how they use water. Now, given that they have an obligation, they would want to reduce their costs because, as I said, they have a significant cost. And then there's also a nexus between energy, water, and the climate change, in that the fact that they consume so much energy, which comes from fossil fuel, they're contributing to the greenhouse gas, exacerbating climate change, and then in turn affect them in terms of the drought and so forth. So they would be involved in both the adaptation and mitigation. They would want to reduce the amount of energy they use, reduce the amount of greenhouse gas that they do.
Well, that's a very thorough explanation. Mr. Herbert, I saw you obviously nodding your head in agreement with what Dr. Brown had to say. Anything to add?
No, not really. He basically, as one would say, hit the ball out the park, direct on point, and enlightening.
Definitely so. And I love the fact that you talked about something that I think I came to understand relatively recently, which is that the St. Kitts Water Services Department is one of the largest consumers of electricity. So as we talk about that linkage between water and energy, obviously one of the obligations, as you rightly said, Dr. Brown, is the need to be more energy efficient. And so hopefully we'll get to that leg of the discussion later on. What can you tell us, gentlemen, about the collaboration between your departments as it relates to any particular projects or general projects?
Okay. Around 2017, some energy audits were done for government buildings and water pumps. Out of that study, there were some recommendations for more energy efficient water pumps and also to install solar PV on the sites for the water pump. The issue with that has been the funding. Recently, there's a Jeff 100 project, which my colleague may expand on, but the upshot of that is that there should be some funding in that for that project to put solar PV on some of the water pumps and to install more efficient water pumps. So that is one of the collaboration in terms of that. The other one is a solar PV, a small solar PV, a small desalination plant at Canada Estate. It will be powered by solar PV. It will be commissioned soon. So you see the renewable energy part integrated into the water services thing. And to follow up on that, there will be a much larger desalination plant that should start probably soon construction. And there have been discussions of incorporating solar PV into that project. It's not crystallized yet, but there have been some discussion concerning that. And then there's the issue of Solar Space, which is a company which has some innovative technology with respect to improving energy efficiency in solar desalination. So we and the water department, we are collaborating with them to do a pilot at the large desalination plant that should be built. We would be, both us and the water department would be involved in the administrative and the technological aspect of that, and we should be gaining a lot of experience and knowledge from that, and hopefully that technology would grow and mature and be a part of our water energy system.
Now your face belies the excitement which I know that you're feeling, because it is a very exciting product. Mr. Herbert.
Yes, to expand on what Dr. Brown said, especially concerning the diesel plant at the Canada industrial site. We at Water Department are very excited about that because one, that should be able to bring more water in the system and at the same time not increase our bill with Skellig that much. It will be used at times, will be powered by Skellig at times, but that's like mostly at nights if we run it during the night. But the hope is as long as we operate it during the day, it will be operated by the solar PV that he mentioned about. So we are very excited about that, and if I'm not mistaken, it should be coming on stream sometime late this month. So we are hoping and keeping our fingers crossed. The larger plant at Paul Southwell Industrial Site, that I think, if I am not mistaken, should be work should be starting early next year. So that again would bring some relief to consumers in Bastille and water department in terms of water produced and the bill for Skellig.
That's wonderful. And you've been quiet all day, and you're not usually very quiet. So let's get you in on the conversation, Mr. Frank.
Yes. The guys have been touching on pretty much all the points. We've been collaborating on a lot of the projects now lately. The desal plants, as Dr. Brown said, is solar power desalination plants. And the GEF7, we've done the audits, so we're going to be looking at essentially putting solar panels on as many government buildings as possible, and that includes the water pump. So I know that there's staff within the water department who have been looking at how much solar it will take to actually power the water pumps by solar. So those are things that we've been collaborating on. So we've been assisting them with running the calculations.
All right, so you're assisting them with running the calculations. Do you have any indication that you can, of course, say publicly about the timing of the implementation of that?
I can't say off the top of my head just yet, but we've already started the process of the GEF7 project, the SKN 100 project.
All right, wonderful. So this is a very interesting conversation that we're having because, typically some people might not know this. You generally sit next to each other in the building. That changed recently, but up until recently, you were sitting next to one another. Almost operating, I would think, if anybody were to suspect it, as individual units. Yet there is so much integration going on that we don't see that. I'm glad that we're having this conversation today because it's very important for the public to understand what we're doing vis-a-vis energy, how that affects water. And as we continue this conversation today, obviously I said before, we are in CARICOM Energy Month. So I would love you gentlemen to expound a little bit on the theme and tell us what some of the activities are that you are having as a unit.
Anything? Well, so the theme for this year's CARICOM Energy Month is Invest in Sustainable Energy, Accelerating the Transition. And it's focused a lot on, essentially, as the name suggests, investing in energy, like sustainable energy, energy efficiency, renewable energy. And for obvious reasons, these projects are not exactly the cheapest. As Dr. Brown said, one of the drawbacks with the the energy audit was that there was no funding. There was very limited funding to actually do a lot of the projects. So, but the theme is to essentially push persons to invest in sustainable energy because it will benefit all of us. And what we're doing this year for St. Kitts, we have our recurring events. We've had some events already. We had the minister addressed the nation early to start the month. We went to the St. Peter's Anglican Church to open the month of activities on the 3rd. We launched a mascot design competition for children between 7 to 19. Right now, there's online voting going on. So I recommend everyone who's interested, you can visit the ministry's website, the Ministry of Public Infrastructure's website, and do online voting there. And you can go on our Facebook page as the Energy Unit of St. Kitts and Nevis. Online voting is going on right now for the mascot. We have 3 mascots. I won't say the names of the kids that applied, but we have 3 mascots in the competition right now, and we want to see the best, what the public wants. So the preferred mascot from the public, and that's contributing 20% of the final tally. So we encourage persons to participate in the online voting. Our next activity, we had Rough Dry Friday as well. That was my favorite event. We had to do come to work without, yes. We had to do come to work with our clothes unironed. And we had very good participation. So we're hoping, and it was a regional event. So we saw very good participation. So we'll be bringing it back next year. I'm looking forward to it. So on this week we have our energy fair. Our annual energy fair is going to be in the Independence Square from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. and you're going to have different stakeholders participating, and that'll be including Codes, CDC, Skelec, different installers for solar. Ministry of Environment is going to be there, Bureau of Standards is going to be there, and Solid Waste is going to be there. So we have different people who are involved in the the energy industry who are going to be participating in the energy fair. And we encourage persons to come out and see what's going on in the country. We're going to be there as well. We're going to be showing off things like our Solar City Simulator, which is something that you could actually go online and be able to estimate how much solar you can put on your roof. And that's with Sandy Point, Bass here, because we weren't able to get a full scope of St. Kitts, but we have a good portion of St. Kitts covered. So you'll be able to see and interact with that software in the square this Friday. So we encourage persons to come out to our booth especially. The following week, next week, we're going to have a social media campaign, Unplug Me Week, where we encourage persons to practice energy conservation, energy conservation practices. And it's going to be a social media campaign. So look out for our social media pages to see energy saving tips and stuff like that. And we're going to be back next week again for Skelec Power Talk. So you're going to hear our voices again next week on ZIZ. And the following day, the day after that, which is the 21st, we're going to have a panel discussion on ZIZ. That's 8:30 on ZIZ on the 21st. And following that, we're going to have a LED glow walk. What we call an LED glow walk. We're going to be walking from we're going to be walking from Greenlands to the National Heroes Park. And it's going to be like a glow-in-the-dark type of night walk. So that's going to be on the 23rd of this month. And the last thing we have for this month on our end is the launch of our energy mascot. So once online voting is completed, we're going to do some little artworks, and we're going to present our official mascot, of energy mascot, to the public. So that will be on the 29th, and that will close out our month of activities in St. Kitts. But there's also regional activities as well. So there's a Women in Sustainable Energy activity that is happening, is a workshop. And then there's a youth. I think there was one that was last week, a youth in sustainable energy activity as well. That was last week. So the upcoming one is the Women in Sustainable Energy at CARICOM level.
Wonderful. So that's a whole lot of information.
Yes.
I feel like we don't have enough time to delve into it, but obviously, if I had to pick a couple of points, I would say definitely the big event that's coming up this week for you is the Energy Fair.
Energy Fair, that's
in
correct.
Independence Square.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody needs to be there. I'm rhyming already. There you go. All right. So, Mr. Herbert, let's talk about you now. Obviously, I thought when Danasi was talking about the mascot competition, I see your logo right there. Maybe you need a mascot too. I don't know. Perhaps that's something we can do for next year.
That's a good idea.
In any event, as we continue this discussion in the next perhaps 3 or so minutes, I want to give you an opportunity to touch on anything in particular that you think the public would need to know about what you do and how important it is.
Well, As the clerk of works, my job became a little bit easier over the past few years with the assistance of the 3 new assistant engineers that Water Services and the government bring on staff with us. Before that, most of that work used to be split between myself and the general manager. So, in terms of the operational engineer, the treatment and distribution engineer, the project engineers, those staffs used to split. So, we makes my work easier, a little bit less stressful, but I still have to be the linkage between the regular staff and the engineers, making sure that whatever project that is on the books and we have running is keep on time, on point, keep the engineers and the manager and everyone else updated where we are, what problems we have, how I'm going about resolving them. As mentioned, the energy unit, public works, SCELEC, agriculture, links between there, keep everybody updated. So all in all, it's somewhat a little easier, but still have that lot of running around, a lot of phone calls, 3 and 4 phone calls one time. Has to be in a lot of different places. Soon as you leave, one hustle to get to the next one, that sort of thing. But there's a great improvement in what it was then to now.
Well, that's definitely good, and I think that you can see the fruits of your labor as well,
Yes.
because we're talking about improved systems, we're talking about integration, collaboration, and
Yes.
sustainability. So those points are very important. In the last 30 seconds, I would like to give each of you a minute to, well, I can't say a minute, a few seconds to wrap up. So is there any final word that you have, Dr. Brown?
Just inviting the public to support the events that we're having. For example, the Energy Fair. We invite them to come out to the Independence Square on Friday and look at the exhibits there. The Glow Walk, we ask them to attend, come and see. The panel discussion, we're asking them to listen in. It will be on TV, so they join it and get informed about what is happening in the energy industry. It will be based about investment in the energy industry. That's what the panel discussion will be about. And then stay tuned for the Unplug Me Week updates, the public service announcements in terms of energy efficiency. They could learn a lot as to how they could reduce the electricity bills from those. So participate. It would be to your benefit, to their benefit.
Wonderful. It's Frank.
Yes, and just to add, again, thank you for being here. Again, I want to encourage persons, particularly for the online voting for the Energy Mascot competition. Just visit the website, visit the Facebook page, pick your favorite, and we want the best product out of the set. So they're all winners, and I like the fact that we are showing off the artistic ability of our youth, but we need one. So go out and choose, and I will encourage persons to practice energy conservation tips and invest in energy, sustainable energy. It might seem pricey at first, but the long-term benefits are beneficial. There are very broad long-term benefits for investing in sustainable energy. So I would encourage persons to do just that and look out for energy saving tips next week.
All right, Mr. Herbert, you've got about 10 seconds. No pressure.
Yeah, no, well, basically, I'd like to thank the general public for all the information, both positive and negative, because nothing is perfect. So there must be some negative things inside there. We strive at Water Department, we strive every day to improve, be more reliable, a safer product, and that's our goal, to have the island on a whole scale with 24/7 water. Unfortunately, that's not so, but we are working hard and looking for that. And just to thank again the public for reporting whatever faults they see. It might not be repaired as quick and as they would like, but we are working.
And I think we can all see that.
Yeah.
So thank you so very much, gentlemen, for joining me today. Dr. Brown, Dr. Berto Brown, Mr. Nasir Frank, Mr. Malcolm Herbert. I'm Jamie Morris saying goodbye until next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.